What's up, y'all? Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. It's your fairy glam mother, King Cat, back with another one. We're about to get into this 2x6 closure sew-in tutorial, but before we do, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, let's get into it. First, I started by parting the hair into 3 sections. Then I parted the hair into medium subsections and cornrowed the hair downward. Then I connected the end of the previous braid into the next braid and continued to do that until all the hair was braided up. To connect your braids, you're going to make sure all 3 strands of your cornrow are in one hand, and then you're going to take the previous braid and slide it in between your index and your thumb and continue to cornrow the rest of the braid like nothing ever happened, okay? And for those of you who are visual learners, I slowed down the replay twice for you, okay? Period. Side note, if you have not already done so and you're doing a sew-in on a client, this would be the time to be bleaching your knots on your closure while you're braiding it down so that it has time to process and that you're not taking any time away from the actual install, which is going to slow you down. Once I'm done braiding down her foundation, I went ahead and used some old school wild grow to give her scalp some moisture before we put it underneath the net. Because of my mom's density and her hair texture, I came up with 5 braids on each side and 6 in the back. Now it's time to sew down the net. So this net is from the local beauty supply store. I'm using some nylon thread, a couple wide needles. These are specific sewing needles you can also get from your local beauty supply store. So one might ask, why are the braids so far apart, or how are you going to sew on hair with all the gaps between the braids? That is where your handy dandy net comes in. Not only does it preserve the life of your sew-in, it also gives you extra area to sew down tracks and to have them as close as possible. The net is also very protective when it comes to the maintenance of this style, which your client should be coming in every 2 to 3 weeks to have their closure and weave washed and maintained. But everybody's hair is different. You might have to use more braids if your client has more hair. And yes, her sew-in was very flat using this method. Now I'm taking Got To Be Free spray and combing the hair away from the hairline on the closure and taking a blow dryer and freezing them into place so that they are out of the way as I measure the closure on her head for placement. I'm taking a eyeliner and just marking where the closure will lay so I know where I need to sew it down. I used a spare makeup brush and my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Mocha Mommy to match the closure to my client, aka my mother's skin tone, and I'm just going to place that all over the side of the closure that doesn't have any hair on it, including the hairline. Also, I cut the seams off of the sides of the closure so that it lays flat and is easy to blend. I only cut the seams up until the point that the closure will be sewn onto the braids as well. Please measure where your closure is going to be sewn, where your client's hairline starts, not where the braids start. After that, my closure is all prepped and ready to sew down. So if you notice, where I cut my seam off and where the cut is landing are not aligned to where the braids start on her head. And I did have to go back and correct my work to make sure that everything was aligned properly, which you'll see it is later. So I use Edge Booster to lay her edges down and make sure that they're out of the way and not getting in the way of the adhesive we're about to use to lay this closure, okay? Before we lay the closure, we have to clean the area, and I used alcohol. I believe it's 90% alcohol to clean her skin off. I'm using this melting spray from the wig dealer, as this is a glueless closure install, and I'm going to spray where the hairline starts and use a blow dryer to hold it down. And yeah, I think this part is pretty self-explanatory. If you watch it closely, you'll understand what's going on. As you can see, where the hairline starts and where her hairline starts are perfectly aligned, and that is because I measured my closure where her hairline starts and not where the braids start. The glueless method is more convenient for people who are not familiar with working with glue and lace and just really don't want to be bothered. It's very easy to maintain. Once the lace is about 80% dry, I'll go ahead and use my custom elastic band to lay it down, and I'm going to leave that on while I sew on the bundles. For this install, I use 3 12-inch bundles of deep curly hair, which can be purchased on my website along with the closure. This is how the hair looks after it's been washed and conditioned. Period. No tangles, baby. To sew in the tracks, I just went horizontally across the nape up until the top of the ear. And once I get to the top of the ear, then I sew the track along the hairline until it meets the closure.
Virgil got a paddock on my wrist going nuts. Niggas caught me slipping once, okay, so what? Someone hit the block up, I tell you if it was us. Man, a house in Rosewood, this shit too plush. Say my day's the number, but I keep waking up. No, you see my text, baby, please say something. Wine by the glass, man, a cheapskate, huh? Niggas gotta move on my release day, huh? Bitch, this is fame, not clout. I don't even know what that's about. Watch your mouth. Baby got an ego twice the size of the crib. I can never tell a shit, it is what it is. Said what I had to and did what I did. Never turn my back on every G, God forbid. Virgil got the paddock on my wrist, doing front flips. Giving you my number, but don't hit me on no dumb shit. Working on the weekend like usual. Way off in the deep end like usual. Niggas swear they passed us, they doing too much. Haven't done my taxes, I'm too turned up. Virgil got a paddock on my wrist going nuts. Niggas caught me slipping, was okay, so what? Someone hit the block up, I tell you if it was us. Man, a house in Rosewood, this shit too plush.
I'm going to keep sewing in this pattern up until I get to the 4th braid. Once I get to the 4th braid, then I'm going to start laying my tracks horizontal.
things above me. The things I can't change are the reason you love me. Listen, you can hear them calling my name. I'm all over the place, I can't sit in one place. I'm not ashamed at all. Still finding myself, let alone with soulmate, I'm just saying. Feel like we one and the same, our relationship changed. That or it never existed. Whenever they say something about us, you listen. Well, fuck what they talking about on your timeline. Just cut it all into my time. Fuck what they talking about on your timeline. Just cut it all into my time. My time.
Now that I'm at the 4th braid, let me show you how to flip these tracks over, which is kind of difficult to explain. So basically, I'm going to put a stitch exactly where I want the track to flip over. I'm going to flip the track over, and then I'm going to put another stitch there and knot it so that it stays into place and continue sewing like normal. At this point, I'm just going to continue to sew on my tracks the way I just showed you I did it until they meet the closure and it's time to style the hairstyle, period. Now it's time to style the hair, and we are going for a middle part for this look. I'm going to use my Bedhead Wax Stick and Fantasia Olive Spritz to define the part before I go over it with a hot comb. This is the old school hot comb too, no electric stuff here.
These days, these new girls, they got me nervous. They go to school and do bottle service. They can't decide, they keep switching majors. Being indecisive makes me anxious.
Before I cut off the excess lace, I'm going to cut it in the middle and kind of use my scissors to push it back just a little bit so it's not so much lace laying on her forehead. Then I'm going to take a razor, an eyebrow razor, to cut the lace in a jagged motion, and I'm going to use a little bit of the melting spray from the wig dealer. I'm going to put it a little bit on my finger, and I'm going to rub it onto the lace because I don't want it to get too wet. Right after that, I'm going to put the elastic band back down and leave that on while I style the rest of the hair. While the lace finishes melting, I'm going to use the Magic Gray Hair Dye Pen, which I got from Amazon. And I'm going to further define the part so that it doesn't look so uneven, we'll say. Yeah. Then I'm going to take a water bottle. It just has regular water in it and a little bit of essential oils, which is optional, and I'm just going to saturate the hair before I put A Curl Can Dream by Matrix on the hair, which gives the curl a lightweight hold without it being crunchy and without it leaving any nasty residue on the hair. And voila, the results speak for itself. As you can see, this bust down is looking nice and natural. My mom did mention that she wanted the hair to look more like a bob, so I'm just going to go back in and style it up, give her even all around little cut, nothing too major. And yeah, basically we're all done here. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Leave any comments or questions or concerns that you have in the comments. I'm going to leave the link to this hair in the description. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this look and got something out of it. And I will see you on the next one. I love you guys so much. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye.